If you were in a zombie apocalypse, what would you do? Would you freak out and give in, if you're not dead already? Or would you do whatever it takes to survive? Or would you make a checklist of everything you ever wanted to do in your life and try your best to do it before you became a zombie? If the answer is yes, what would you put on your list? We kick things off with a man running through the city with a zombie apocalypse going on around him. And yeah, the odds are stacked against him. I mean, look at the crowd around him. He's not lasting much longer. And look at that. It wasn't even real. What an opening scene to a show about zombies, even though it was a movie. Even though our main character Tendo was watching a movie about zombies, he's about to see just how well art imitates life. Tendo has an office job that he is completely sick of. He's almost a brainless zombie himself. He has no motivation to do anything, not even to clean his room. I mean, look at it. The rats and roaches are having a field day in this. We go back into the past and we see this young Tendo full of excitement and ready for his first desk job. But he can't be that excited because, hey, he ain't even got his first desk pop yet.
He did it! Shots fired!
But he is full of excitement and ready to work with the company of his dreams. And of course, he meets his boss, and on the first day, he meets his first work crush, and he instantly gets butterflies. This woman's name is Miss Otori, and she already has Tendo shook. So after his first day on the job, Tendo grabs some drinks with his new work friends, and we learn that Tendo used to play rugby, which is good, because he's going to need that athleticism for later. I mean, look at the title. You know what this story's about. And while he's out grabbing drinks with friends, he sees Miss Otori again, his work crush. And she is just his type. And he's going to show her that he means business and he's the best at his job. This woman really got Tendo ready to make life changes for her. I mean, hey, I'm glad Tendo has the motivation to work, because he thought right after this, he's going to get to go home. Nah, buddy. Your shift starts right now.
Huh?
Working day in and day out on his first day on the job. That's rough. In fact, he didn't even go home until 2 days after he started. How many of y'all would have walked out right then? That's crazy. For 2 days straight, nobody went home. Nobody showered. You know that office had to be smelling terrible. The smell is hidden, and Febreze won't help it. You might need some divine help from the smell that's coming from that office. These people are being worked to the bone. I've never seen anything like it. They can't be doing them like this. And you know all this has to be led by somebody. And you're right. The department lead, Chief Kozuki. And remember his face and remember his name. And even after seeing all this, Tendo stayed for 2 years. I know most of y'all wouldn't even stay the first day. I'm not putting in a 2-week notice. You're just gonna notice when I'm not there. But Tendo still has something to look forward to at work. Miss Otori. She brings him lunch and everything. My boy might be in there for real. Oh nah. That's that hurt right there. They didn't have to do him like that. But on his 3rd year, something finally snapped. And he almost uses the train. Yeah. But he doesn't do that. And instead, he pushes through the night. And he gets his wish. He doesn't have to go to work anymore. But for a completely different reason than what he thought it would be. Like for real, a zombie apocalypse? Tendo is really living in a what would you do scenario. But he's just happy he doesn't have to go to work. And while he's running away from the zombies, his mood completely changes. He loves the fact that he doesn't have to go to work anymore. He's free. So, with this unexpected day off, he starts brainstorming on what he needs to do with his extra free time. One of the things on the top of his mind is to go see Miss Otori, even if she is somebody's side chick. Tendo takes his bike, rides it through a zombie-infested town just to see Miss Otori. Now, I'm not the one to be giving out simple awards, but seeing what we've seen, Tendo might be up there. He just might be up there for top candidate. And Tendo finally gets to Miss Otori's apartment, opens the door, just to see the CEO is already there. This man rode through a whole town full of zombies just to see the same thing he already saw. Tendo, seeing this, tells his zombified boss that he quits while also throwing him off the balcony in the process. What a way to quit. But hold up. Look at this tackling form from Tendo. I mean, look at it. Textbook tackle. After Tendo quits and pushes his boss off the balcony, he sees Miss Otori, but the CEO already got to her on multiple occasions, if we want to be honest. Even seeing this, Tendo still confesses his feelings to a zombified Miss Otori.
Sayonara.
Tendo is having flashbacks from his old job. They were treating him so badly over there, he's got PTSD from. But Tendo quickly remembers that he doesn't have to go back to that weak job anymore due to a small little crisis in town. Just a small little crisis. And because of the zombie apocalypse going on outside, Tendo finally has the time to get his life together and clean up that dirty room. Yeah, that's right. He's got to evict the rats. You know they in there. And even though there's an apocalypse going on outside, Tendo looks even happier during the apocalypse than he did at his old job. He's starting to enjoy the little things in life a lot more. In fact, he declares this day Beer Day. And what do you think he's gonna do on Beer Day?
8 beers, 9 beers, and a Bloody Mary.
And like I said, he's handling everything pretty well, especially with an apocalypse going on outside. But he does have one thing that he doesn't have handled. He's ran out of beer. How do you run out of beer on your beer day? With him being out of beer, you know he has to take a trip to the store to get some more. During a zombie apocalypse, this man is dedicated to the cause. While on his way out, he runs into his neighbors freaking out and wondering how they're going to survive. So, Tendo decides to help him out and tries to pick up some stuff from the store for him. Running DoorDash during the zombie apocalypse. Tendo's really risking it all for beer. And he gets to the store and he sees a girl already there collecting her stuff too. And you know Tendo trying to do a little small talk, trying to lay the moves on her, make some friendly conversation. But she shames Tendo for putting his life on the line for some beer. And while she's shaming him like this, a group of zombies make their way into the front door. And Tendo tries to step up and be a hero, but he was the one that actually needed saving. A few seconds later, and a couple of more inches, and Beer Day would have ended real quick, and Tendo is left in shock. But he did learn something from this. He learned how to analyze risk. Somewhat. Not only that, he gets his beer, and he levels up and finds a bike. He goes back home to give his neighbors their stuff, and he's a bit too late. They're already a snack. Seeing that sight and almost dying at the store made Tendo realize tomorrow is not promised to anybody, so he has to make the best of the time he has. This makes Tendo create a list of all the things he wants to do before he becomes a zombie. He only managed to write 33 things down at the time, but this list has some pretty important people that he needs to see. A successful beer day, and he created his list. Tendo's day was a success, and at this moment we see the point of view change, and we see the girl that Tendo met at the store. And she's all about fitness to increase her survival chances. She also has a lot of tech around her. Computers and the whole setup, the whole nine. She even has her binoculars and movies to study the different zombies around the city. And from all this, we see that she's the complete opposite of Tendo. Only grabbing the essentials in the store that she needs for survival. Not beer. Even though it's beer day. And she makes it back from the store unharmed. But she does regret not grabbing a few non-essential things. Sometimes you just have to live a little. We see a wall of a bunch of people inside a club/restaurant and a girl that is crying about the situation that's going on outside. And I really don't blame her for crying, because it's getting kind of real out there. And the leader of this club/restaurant assures the girl that everything's gonna be okay. He goes outside to protect the place. And I understand why he would want to protect it. Because I mean, it is his place. And for some reason, I feel like even during a zombie apocalypse, the insurance company is still up and running. And you can't explain this to insurance. Zombies, they still not falling for it. And you know we're gonna come back to this place later on. But now, we gotta go see what Tendo's doing. And speaking of Tendo, we see him at home marking stuff off his list. And all of a sudden, he remembers an old friend. But his friend is in a sticky situation too. Stuck in a room for 3 days in one crazy room. And just when he thinks he's about to waste away in this room, he thinks of his friend Tendo. And his phone rings. And of course, it's Tendo. And he's asking his friend Kensho how he is and if he wants to go grab drinks during a zombie apocalypse. And this conversation reminded Tendo of the last time he was with his friend. Kensho was really showing off his new job as a real estate agent and showing off his model girlfriend. Like, he was really flexing on him. And even after Tendo got flexed on like that, he remained friends with him, which is good. And in fact, he's heading to his town right now to grab that drink. So now we go back to the club that we saw in the beginning. And it looks like they're losing their fight. I mean, just look at it. They're literally inches away from taking his throat. They got evil intentions in mind. And just before they actually get to him, Tendo swoops in and saves dude by blowing up some zombies with his own trap and saving Kensho in the process too. And they finally meet up and he cries about the job that he no longer has. But I mean, hey, the job did put him through hell, so I kind of get it. And while he's breaking down to his friend, he does admit that he was jealous the last time they met and he acted kind of childish, which takes a man to admit. You gotta respect him for that. But because of all Tendo's yelling and crying, this does attract zombies to him. And because of this, they find themselves on the roof and having to jump from one rooftop to the other to escape the zombies. And Tendo did it with ease. Not gonna lie, I mean, look at his long jump form. Amazing. Now it's Kensho's turn, but he starts to get cold feet. I don't think he can make the jump. And Kensho starts to break down right now and admits to Tendo that all the stuff that he showed him, he really hated it. It was all material things that didn't make him happy. Lying to people, getting them signed high mortgage rates, wasn't for him. Kensho even tells Tendo his biggest dream is to become a stand-up comedian. And that's good he's admitting all this and he's having a moment. But there's still zombies behind him. Like, can you hurry this up, have the moment over there, away from the zombies? So, Kensho, with his newfound confidence, finally has the courage to jump, leaving his old life behind in the process. And his clothes too. So they both make it to the other side safely, and after that, they camp out and drink some beer together. Kensho thinks after this, Tendo might have what it takes to save him from the zombie apocalypse. We'll see about that. These boys have gotten comfortable on the rooftop. They got games, they got food, they got everything to make this rooftop feel like home. Kensho finds Tendo's bucket list, picks it up, and adds a couple of things himself. But before they add even more to the list, they head to the store to get a widescreen TV. And yes, before you ask, the widescreen TV is on the bucket list. However, when they get there, they hit a dead end. And all of a sudden, a tanker starts heading straight for them. But Tendo sees this just in time. He channels his inner Dominic Toretto, harnesses the power of the family, and ramps his motorcycle into the subway unscathed. You just can't stop the power of family. It's too strong. And somehow, this tunnel led them to the store that they were looking for. And it just so happens they get locked in the store with a couple of females and this dude over here. And the females happen to be flight attendants. Like, they need to start playing the lottery, because how do you get this lucky? And turns out what happens to be on the list is to wine and dine some flight attendants in a zombie apocalypse. These boys are lucky. They start drinking to pass the time. And Tendo tries to talk to his girl, but that didn't go so well. He looks at Kensho, and he's already making moves. So Tendo decides to step his game up and throws back a drink, and that didn't go very well. But one of the flight attendants did check on him, so he might still have a chance. So everybody splits up into their groups. Kensho and his girl, Tendo and his, and this guy and the other girl. And right when you think things can go right and people might be getting lucky, this guy lifts up his pants leg and shows that he got bit. Like, wow, bro. Ain't no way. Like, how you break the number one rule in a zombie apocalypse? How you get bit and not tell anybody? Like, at least distance yourself from the group or something. This dude just sitting here, just like, if I'm gonna get bit, everybody else gotta get bit too. Like, you're selling. Like, I wanna know, what would y'all do in this situation? If you got bit in a zombie apocalypse, would you tell somebody? Or at least leave the group? Or would you stay with the group knowing that you got bit? What would you do? And if it's the last one, you can't be trusted. You gotta go. And of course, him not telling the group that he got bit becomes a big problem. He creeps up on this flight attendant and bites him. All while Kensho is doing his work. They have no idea what's about to happen. And Tendo is thinking he's about to get lucky. Psych. She has a boyfriend. Kensho runs into the other zombie and the other flight attendant gets bit. They're both out of here. Except, where's the old man that bit her? And of course, we pan to Tendo bonding with his flight attendant girl over similar experiences dealing with a hard job. She's a very loving and caring person. And Tendo gives her some good info. Gives her some tips on how to handle a hard job and how to move forward in life. But she won't be using. She gets bit. And even then, at the edge of death, she gets Tendo out of harm's way. And of course, Tendo cries his eyes out because of this. But they did get what they set out for. Their widescreen TV. With a little bit of PTSD with it. We see a kid in a cape and a hard hat protecting a kid and his dog. It's a young Tendo dressed up as a superhero. Maybe he's outgrown that phase. Maybe. Nah, he decides to wake up and become a superhero. And what better time than during a zombie apocalypse? So next on his list, to become a superhero. So Tendo and Kensho head to the aquarium. They even got zombie sharks here. Zombie sharks. And we take a quick look outside the aquarium and there's a bus full of civilians. And once again, someone breaks the number one rule in a zombie apocalypse. Not telling someone they got bit. Like, come on. Again? Y'all gotta separate yourselves from the group. Like, please. So anyway, he does what a zombie's gonna do, you know, munch, munch, crunch, crunch. And people start freaking out. So everybody runs and jumps off the bus and they head towards the aquarium. And while the whole group is running, one girl trips. Of course, always gotta be somebody that trips. It's a skill issue for real. Just leave her. Tendo, as the Aki Ranger, pulls up and saves the day. And while Tendo is saving civilians, he saw the same girl that he saw a couple of days earlier in the crowd. And he gets distracted and slips up. And this little slip up causes zombies to catch up to him and dogpile him. He still saved the day though. And after Tendo saves the day, he tries to approach the girl again. And he thought he was gonna be smooth, but all she did was attack his self-esteem. Like, dang. And while she's giving Tendo this lecture about his self-esteem and why he shouldn't be doing this, they hear a noise. What can it be? That's right, the zombie shark. A shark attack on dry land. And not on a beach. We're talking about in the middle of a city. Like, I done seen it all. This zombie apocalypse has everything. Like, this is the zombie apocalypse DLC. They run from the shark and it chases them down with maximum efficiency. The girl from the store breaks her number one rule and tries to help somebody from one. Not gonna lie, she got done dirty. She got thrown out like the trash. Like, I don't know, they might have to run the ones later or something, because this was dirty. She gets left behind and Tendo notices this, and he wastes no time jumping in to save her. This man jumped in and saved her from a shark. So now that he's here, they start running and brainstorming to see if they can escape this shark. They finally think of something to take the shark out with. They all work together, and Tendo steps up, delivering a Thor-type punch, putting down this shark for the count. And even after this, she still doesn't want to join their group. How else do they gotta prove themselves? Like, what more do they have to prove? But Tendo does get her number and her name. Her name is Shizuka Mikazuki. And I'm sorry if I butchered that, just bear with me. Kensho and Tendo find themselves in a jewelry store looking at Rolexes and other timepieces. Now hear me out. The scenario is a zombie apocalypse. You're in a jewelry store. I know you're gonna take something. Don't lie. You're gonna take something. All the Rolexes, all the rings, all the chains. I mean, zombie apocalypse, they're not gonna need it. You're gonna take something. I got you. I'm not gonna say anything. Sight? I got you. Yeah, you would take something. I got you. You already said it. I see you nodding your head. No. So they have fun in a jewelry store and they put other stuff on the list. And then they make their way back up to the rooftop just to find out they're out of water. No more water supply for them. And they're out of cellular service. And you know, once that service go down and the Wi-Fi go down and the game gets cut off, you know it's time to leave. But since all the lights are off, they do get a good view of the sky. This made Tendo want to go back home and be with his family. So they decide to head out of town. So they decide to pack up and head out, and they pack a little light. And Tendo decides to take his game system too. Tendo's got the right idea. Anywhere that system go, I'm going. But before they make the long trip, they decide to stop at a shop to get an RV. And while they're at the shop, guess who they run into? That's right, Shizuka. And this makes the third time that they ran into each other. She's at the RV place, but she doesn't have a license. And Tendo does. So if she's gonna be a risk analyst, she can't be driving around without a license. So she finally gives in and joins the group. And they start picking out RVs, and they got a lot to choose from luxury all the way to not so luxury. And Shizuka picked something that was pretty good. It's a good pick. But Tendo and Kensho picked one that's over 20 M's. And if it's over 20 M's, you know it's gotta be good, right? However, their shopping spree comes to an end. And they pick Old Beauty right here, the old classic. So they finally set out on their drive and they start brainstorming. If they can even cure all this, is the world too far gone to be saved? Or can they save it with a cure? They gotta find out. And right when they start to have a little hope for the future, they run over a spike strip in the middle of the road. And this puts them to a dead stop. And guess who it is? It's Tendo's old manager, Chief Kozuki. Chief Kozuki pulls up with a squad, and Tendo's words start catching in his throat. He really had this man stressing. And Chief Kozuki says that he'll help Tendo and his injured friend if he helps them. You know it comes with a price. So Tendo has to work for him again. Now imagine having to work for your old boss during a zombie apocalypse. Like damn, that is hell. So with the zombies inching closer, Tendo finally caves in and decides to help Chief Kozuki. Just for 2 days though. But Shizuka doesn't think it's just going to be 2 days. She thinks they're going to put Tendo through hell. And they are. And while Tendo's working, Tendo sees everybody working hard, so he decides to fire up the generator and freeze some drinks. My man, always thinking of other people. And while Tendo is doing this, Chief Kozuki walks in and finds him and is about to chew him out, but some other people walk in. So he flips the script and takes credit for it. Like dang, just like a boss. And not only does Chief Kozuki have people working for him, he's got the zombies working for him. Like, I can't deny it, that's pretty smart. Tendo and everyone at the camp is being unfairly treated. Tendo feels hopeless and alone. However, Shizuka has had this same experience before, so we're just gonna have to see how they handle it this time. Well, we're in that part of the video. That's been part 1 of Zom 101. Let me know your favorite moments and characters from the show, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. And I'll see you in part 2. And that's everything. I'll see you in the next video. See you, soldier. At ease.